take you very seriously. I've taught at places like Stanford, UC Berkeley, and some fancy places or places with fancy reputations where you're treated as sort of an exalted civil servant of some kind whose job it is to get them through this so that they can get out and make a lot of money. Whereas at San Jose State, I actually several times had students say, "Would you repeat that so we can write it down?" And that shocked me. It's like they're actually listening to what I have to say. I spent my first decade in Mississippi, as you know from perusing my biographies, and the second decade in Michigan, particularly in Detroit, where I had an illustrious set of classmates from 5th grade on. Lily Tomlin recently got back in touch with me on her 77th birthday. We're both 77. She said, "What I'd like to do with my 77th birthday is see Al Young again." And so that happened. But I was also there with a lot of people, Smokey Robinson, Aretha Franklin, all of these people who made big names for themselves, and a lot of jazz musicians. And so music, poetry, theater, dance, writing, all of that stuff, all went together. We didn't differentiate between the arts. They were all of a piece, and we all paid attention to each other. And one of my laments is that we have veered so far into specialization, extreme specialization, that in writing departments, for example, they separate prose writers from poets, which is just ludicrous, preposterous, really. So that's by way of just saying that there was one Chinese kid at Central High School in Detroit, which I attended, which was predominantly Jewish school, fast becoming African American as I was leaving. And his name was Wayne Hui, and he was very popular because people liked to say his name. At that time, Laverne Baker had that record out, "Jim Dandy to the rescue," and people used to sing, "Wayne Hui to the rescue," and he was good-natured, he took a joke. But when I got out to California in 1960, one of the first people I met was the famous or infamous Frank Chin on Telegraph Avenue. We both played guitar. He played a really nice flamenco guitar, and we were both interested in writing, and he introduced me to one of his buddies, whose name, as I recall, was Malcolm Wu. This was the first time I'd met Chinese-American kids, with names like that. Malcolm, Frank, because I was used to Wayne Hui, things like that. So it all came to a head down in Mississippi when I was having dinner one evening with the great novelist Ernest Gaines and the great poet Robert Hayden. And Ernest Gaines said from out of nowhere, he said, in Louisiana I had a girlfriend that was so beautiful once that she looked Chinese. And I thought, now this is interesting. What we're going through and what we're condemning now, the maltreatment of Asians and Asian Americans in this country, in this land, is cyclical. Only the ethnic group changes, and we're going through this again, even as I speak. Whose turn in the barrel? After the Unionists, they picked up and took out the photojournalists' attitude adjustment. I knew this was criminal. I didn't shoot news footage. I kept my eyes and ears wide open. Soon they came after the whistleblowers. Yes, I was signifying, delivering the news slant, but I wasn't blowing no whistles, no covers. I spread the word like leaves. I took note. Then they came after the librarians, seeders, keepers and shelvers of harvested truth. Tree conscious, I kept plenty of books and records, but ran no library. I nail filed it all. Next, they rounded up physicists and chemists, biologists, paleoclimatologists, anthropologists, geneticists, meteorologists, cosmologists, and shrinks. Horrified, I shrink away and freaked. Then they tase down the artists, all the arts, where close-ups fill in details and show stuff like it is, when image and imagination hook up and take over. I cleared my throat. I groaned. Finally, it was my turn in the barrel. As dumb as they looked, they sneaked up on poetry. They caught up with me. I had no case. Others, they knew, like I know, there's no such animal.